What's living back?
All right. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to season 3, episode 4 of the much anticipated holiday edition of the Neutral Zone. And today, alongside with my co host, Stomps, we have what I like to call the biggest, most extravagant episode of all time. It's long awaited, right, Stomps?
Yes, I was going to comment that I would like, thank everyone that I run into that is constantly at the rink asking me, when's TNZ going to have another episode? A lot of people ask, and we appreciate that. So here you go. Here's your
Well,
episode.
they don't know the conversations we've been having with our producers, who told us that in order for a program like this to be successful, you can't run them weekly. Once a year is enough to satiate people's appetite. So, speaking of appetites, today we have a very, very special guest. Not a first time guest, long time viewer. I would say that he was our first guest. We have Mr. Frank Klein with us. So, welcome, Frank.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me back.
You know, that was a little bit of a delayed reaction, but I hope it was sincere.
I didn't know if you were going to keep going. I was waiting for a bigger introduction.
Well, I didn't want to
accolades and accomplishments.
Hey, I didn't want to brush your ego too much. You did a lot of brushing with that fantastic hairstyle tonight. So we're gonna get into some of your accomplishments momentarily.
Oh, God help us.
So today we have a really, really big show here. Like, I mean, the stuff we're gonna cover today is quite honestly beyond your wildest dreams. Like, I mean, we have a big show in store. So can you guys see the screen over there?
Yes, sir.
All right. So today we're gonna go through a couple of housekeeping items, because we always got to start off with current events, and I would encourage both of you to share your opinions on these very important topics, because the world wants to hear from you two guys. One of the reasons I have my background changed, I'm doing that in honor of Elon Musk, SpaceX, so you can see the space in the back. So we can't avoid Elon Musk. We're going to talk about some of the new
Is that company making money? I'm not sure which of his companies are making money and which are losers.
Listen, all I got to tell you is the richest man on earth, so he's in a better position than a lot of us.
A lot of us.
We're going to talk a little bit about these new league rules. I know that this was something that Frank's been talking a lot about with the GMs. We'll dig into that a little bit, Frank. So please be ready. We'll ask you some questions. There's a big tournament coming up in Iowa this weekend. I want to talk a little bit about that. And then the annual Legends Hockey Tournament will be happening in the great month of January. And then we want to talk a little bit about what's going on with Masters, and then we'll close with an injury update. How does that sound for you guys?
Sounds good.
All right.
You're ending on a bad note with the injuries, huh?
Yeah. Well, we're going to stay as positive as possible. Okay. So, guys, did you hear about Tesla? They're going unionized. Like, that's a pretty big, what do you think of that, right? Like, he's created so many opportunities for his people. He's made factory workers millionaires thanks to stock options that he's offered. And look, they want to go unionized. So like General Motors and all the other big auto workers. How do you guys feel about unions?
Stomps?
I've never been in a union, but my brother is, and my dad was, so kind of a union family.
Yeah.
Plumbers union.
Hard workers like you?
Well, different kind of hard work for sure, but yeah.
Frank, are you fearful of the guys in the hockey league, the GMs going unionized? Like, how would that make you feel if frickin' Denison started wanting to go for a unionized model.
I'm all for it. Anything that that gives more power to the people, I'm in.
You think it might stifle some of the creativity, right? So we don't want to do that. But so okay, Stomp's from a union family. Frank doesn't give a shit. Okay, so let's move to this one. Let's move to this one, guys. How do you feel? What kind of emotions do you have seeing Patrick Kane in a original 6 jersey that's not a Blackhawks jersey? Well, he was Rangers, but this one is probably a little bit more of a rivalry, right?
Well, we went through it with when Chilios went from the Hawks to the Red Wings, so I'm not surprised. I'm surprised Buffalo. That was their chance to get their hometown boy, and I don't know why they didn't. I guess follow the money probably, or it's just a 1-year contract. I think he has with Detroit, 2.75 mil.
But it's got some incentives baked into it, right? And listen, the Eastern Conference is up for grabs. I mean, this guy could make a big difference on the Red Wings.
Yeah, I'm more interested just to see what kind of shape he's in. Like how's that hip doing? How does he play? For me, the Blackhawks Red Wings rivalry has kind of lost its luster now that they're not in the same conference anymore.
Right.
So if this had happened, 15 years ago, it would be a different story. But I mean, we got 3 Stanley Cups and a great run out of Patrick Kane. So I'd love to see him do well. And the fact that it's with the Red Wings doesn't really bother me at this point.
Right.
I
If it was I think if it was the Blues now, it would really irritate me. I feel like they're they're in division rivalry or maybe the Preds, but yeah, now that the Red Wings are on a different conference, it just doesn't feel the same.
Be interesting to see him playing with DeBrincat again.
Yeah.
They certainly lit it up here for a few years, and see what happens.
So nothing is like game shape, but I do know from my intel that he's been training in Ontario. So he's been up in Canada. The deal was actually negotiated in Toronto. So he's up there. I think he's in London because didn't he play for the London Knights in the
Yes.
OHL? Yeah. So he's as close
When he was a kid, he played with Honey Baked up in Detroit.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's
really?
right.
So yeah, so as in his youth career, he spent some time in Detroit.
Yeah. I'm sure Sam Espinoza is going to get his Detroit jersey. This one is a little bit not a feel-good story, and I really gotta having 2 Blackhawks guys on the panel here today. It is important to have this discussion because this Corey Perry thing came from left field here, and he finally broke his silence today. Did you guys get a chance to catch that press conference or that statement? I put it on the screen here for you all. Stomps, can you please read that?
Sure, this is Corey Perry apparently breaking his silence today. I'm embarrassed and I've let you all down. As a result of my actions, there has been speculation and rumors. I am sickened by the impact this has had on others. And I want to make it clear that in no way did this situation involve any of my teammates or their families.
That was just a part of his statement, but there's a lot more where he apologizes, and I think there was some substance abuse going on there, but I am particularly happy that it was not what that rumor was. That would have been really bad.
But if it was a substance abuse situation, wouldn't the team try to get him help and this and that, or just cut him loose the way they did? There's got to be something else to that.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird position for me because, man, I hated this guy forever. He was like public enemy number 1, and then he comes to our team, and then you're starting to warm to the guy, right? All right, maybe I like this guy, and then he does something. We don't really know what's going on. Obviously, we've got some kind of vague idea of what happened, but yeah, it's hard for anyone to talk about it without knowing the specifics. Generally speaking, I'm not a zero tolerance guy. Like, I think people should get second chances, but that depends on what he did. Like if he did something awful, then yeah, he's got to go.
Do you
But do
think?
you
that-
think,
you go ahead. You go ahead, Stomps.
well, no, I was just gonna say, but do you think that whole situation with Kyle Beach and what
Yeah.
that kind of drove them to really take maybe actions that they may not have otherwise?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's what people are wondering right now. Like, did they do the right course of action, or are they kind of overcorrecting at this point?
Right.
You know, and again, without the specifics, it's hard to say. I will say that generally speaking, I do like Kyle Davidson. He seems like a genuine guy, and so I kind of want to believe that he's doing the right thing here. But you know, at some point, I'm sure all the details will get out, and we'll have a better idea what's going on.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards the overcorrection part, but I do say that it's really difficult with not coming out with in more information. I think that's strange. I also think it's really hard if the guy wants to continue his career, which I actually think based on his statement, like the full statement actually includes a lot more information and a remorse. And listen, he can still play. I mean, he was being paid $4 million. He was not even close to the league minimum. So I mean, he can still contribute. He's a pretty good third, fourth liner player. He's won a Hart Trophy. He's been to the Stanley Cup final, I think 3 times. He's won 1 cup, and I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and from the Blackhawks point of view, I mean, obviously they're in a rebuild. You know, last year was terrible, and you know, right now they've got one of the worst records in the league again. But the idea was that they're going to have him and Taylor Hall, and they're going to start at least instilling some professionalism and kind of looking forward here. And now both those guys are gone, and you're kind of left with, you know, what does this season mean for the Blackhawks? So the fact that they let this guy go kind of leads me to believe that he must have done something pretty bad, because, you know, his presence was pretty important to what they were doing here.
I do think Frank, that Nick Foligno is a great leader, and I think
that guy, I love that guy.
Yeah, I think they're lucky to have him. I kind of heard some. I was watching a sportscast today where they were talking about how he kind of took the bull by the horns since this has happened, and he's been really demonstrating good leadership in the locker room. So, hey man, maybe this is an opportunity to learn from the right guy. I like Nick Foligno. He's a good guy. He's a good addition.
Yeah, he's really open and transparent with his thoughts and feelings.
Right.
So I like him as far as that goes. Yeah, definitely. But
Yeah.
this could be another lost year. But
Exactly. All right, I just want to show something personal here. So see Owen Power with Suleiman. This is he
How
just
tiny
sent
is Suleiman?
Yeah. So check this out. So Owen Power, he just sent me this like 2 days ago. His girlfriend lives next to Suleiman in Waterloo, Ontario, and so that's like an hour and a half drive from Buffalo. So he happened to be there in the middle of the week. So they just kind of hung out a little bit in the afternoon. So I thought I'd share that picture with everyone. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Wait, is that Owen Power or Owen Hansen? Look at those.
yeah, really.
Yeah, I had to go Google him actually after I saw this picture to see how he really looks, but that's Owen Power actually.
Wow.
Yeah, so thanks for the picture. Looks like Canada's getting a lot of snow up in Waterloo, Ontario.
Oh my God.
Right. All right, Frank, congratulations to you, Frank. I do want to talk to you a little bit about this, and I'm sure Stomps does as well. This, first of all, is a great accomplishment. Not only did you guys win the championship in the Masters in Massachusetts, but I think you scored the game-winning goal and you were the MVP. Talk to us a little bit about that team and the outcome and what the weekend was like for you, man.
So yeah, and actually got some breaking news here. So this 50, it's a 50-year-old and older tournament circuit that they've been doing for a number of years now, and they do allow a handful of players 47 to 49. So that's how I got in. But it's there's a lot of guys at our age group that are still playing and still take it pretty seriously. So this tournament was in Fitchburg, Massachusetts, and actually one of the games we played in Leominster was the first time I ever played in Leominster, which is, you know, kind of like the rink in ball hockey. But next year, this tournament is coming to Chicago. It's first weekend of August. I just finalized the plans the other day. So this tournament will be coming 50 and over to Chicago the first weekend of August. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a great vibe. Everybody, and it was a pretty wide range of skill. It kind of broke down into A and a B division. In the A division, I mean, there's still some phenomenal players. You know, guys playing real well. But then there's some rec guys too. So it was a good group, and just a great vibe. Like all weekend long, everyone had a great attitude, good honest hockey. Everyone was just loving playing. It was I really enjoyed it. I mean, win or lose, like it was nice to win, but just being part of it was really cool. So I got on a team with guys out of Massachusetts. So you see, the Revolution is the name of the team. They actually had two teams. They kind of split them up. So we had two different teams playing, and so our team in the championship game, we were up 3-0, actually, with about 4 minutes left in the game. And this team out of Buffalo, so a lot of Dan Reed's buddies, they came back and tied the game and put it into overtime, which worked out well for me because then I luckily got the game winner, and I think that's what got me the MVP. But yeah, it was a lot of fun and good competition, good dudes all around. It was great.
So how was this like competition compared to, like Pottstown, for example?
So again, there was a pretty clear break. I think there were 8 teams, and there were 4 teams that ended up in the A, 4 in the B, and there was a break there. So the 4 A teams, even though it's 50 and older, they would have been really good teams in the Masters where we played in Pottstown. They were kind of borderline even Masters A teams at the 40 and over division. And then the Masters B was more like, what we played in Pottstown, Masters B. Yeah, it was very similar to Pottstown, I guess, put there. A lot of the same guys that you would see there. And then they do, so next year there's going to be 4 tournaments. I think it's Buffalo, Canada, Chicago, and then back to Massachusetts in October.
Got it.
Were you instrumental in getting it to come to Chicago?
Well, yes. Yeah. So I'm going to organize the tournament here. Talking to a couple of different guys out there. They were looking at dates in July or August. So August, the first week in August works out good because for us, because at Palatine, the roller hockey guys, they're all doing their whatever their big tournament is. So they're all gone that weekend. So that weekend is open.
Yeah, you also have Iowa summer tournaments in August. Although I think it's
there's
very
few people that played in this tournament that would do the Iowa thing. It's kind of a different group.
Yeah. Well, let me know when they have a 60 and over.
I'm sure it's coming.
No, this is great. This is really good. That's a great accomplishment. Frank, do you attribute any of your recent success to some of the conditioning that you've been focused on?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've lost a few pounds and have been trying to get my legs stronger, and it serves, yeah.
And what happened to your back? I understand that you've had a back injury recently.
Not really an injury per se. Just, hey, we're getting older, right? Like our backs go from time to time. So 2 weekends ago, Dan Bruner and I went to New Jersey to try out for the next US over 45 team. And after that, I pretty much did nothing for a few days.
Mhm.
And then was the day after Thanksgiving, I was bringing up all our Christmas boxes and Christmas trees and just carrying a bunch of stuff, moving furniture around, and my back locked up on me. So just kind of had a rough couple days. You know how it is, but yeah, it loosened up. It loosened up. What's today? 30? Maybe a day or two now. It feels good.
Awesome. Well, good. Well, we wanted to sort of check in on that. So Frank, so here's the situation. We have a lot to complain about with Stevie J here. I have a little bone to pick, Stevie.
Oh no.
You have generously offered your Zoom account to us, and there seems to be 3 minutes and 40 seconds left on this version. So if we get cut off, what I'm going to do is it's going to take me 2 minutes. I'm going to resend another invite, and then we're going to have part 2 of this episode. I'm trying relentlessly to upgrade here while Frank talks about the new rules. So Frank, start off with the new rules for all of us, please.
Yeah, did you not pay your bills, or what's going on here?
Loyola kicked them out.
I got 3 minutes. Keep going though, because I'm trying my best to get us going here.
All right. So what do you want me to talk about?
I want you to talk about the new rules, the salary cap, some of the things you sent out earlier later in the summer.
So yeah, it's some of the changes we'd like to see made with the leagues. I wouldn't say there's necessarily new rules. It's just kind of a different way that we're going to approach things. You know, and there was some pushback against it, so the rules aren't really instituted at this point. We would like to start grading the players, and really there's a system already in place, and it's just about gathering data on the players. So, you know, if the three of us, you know, are going to join a team, we would all have some type of score. Like, you know, Stomps would be a 10, Navi would be an 8, and I would be a 6, or whatever it would be. And the captains could then use that information when they want to build the teams. So that's, as far as like instituting the rules, I mean, that's not, there's nothing hard and fast about that. It's more about, that makes sense. We're trying to create some data. The big things we want to change with the leagues are just to make them more fun. And so, you know, we're not doing it on Monday because there was some pushback. So Wednesday we had been compiling, working on stats, and that information should be out in another week or two. So we're going to be doing things like, you know, keeping track of goals and assists and save percentage and that kind of thing. And as we move forward, we're going to start doing some fun things like player of the game for each team. And then at the end of the season, we're going to do some awards. You know, it could be the Lady Bing Award, or the Most Improved Player Award, the MVP Award, the Nicest Guy Award, whatever. We're going to try and just have some things to make it fun. And there's going to be some prizes or award, but there's going to be like a system in place. I see you got less than a minute left. Do you want to?
I'm working. Don't you keep going, man.
So we're going to we're just trying to make things more fun, is really what it is. So there's really a couple of different pieces to it. So the one you were talking about with the salary cap, the teams actually do a pretty good job of that already. So like the teams are already pretty balanced. You know, we do want to make that a little more formal, but that's not something that is going to be a big impact. I think the thing that people are going to see is some of the things that we're going to do to make it more fun. So when you play over time, you know, you're going to get some